Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of the RMG Revival. My name is Nick, formerly known as NMFK, now known as Mr. Shwo. Today I'm playing the Gears of War, well I'm not playing it today, I played it back in April when it was out, but this is the Gears of War 3 beta. This is King of the Hill on Old Town. I want to talk just a bit about this beta. Overall, I think myself and most gearheads will agree the beta was a complete success. We're all very optimistic for the full game. We got everything you pretty much wanted. The shotguns work, even though one of them might be a little overpowered, and I killed myself with a digger there. Yeah, that wall's a little weird. The digger sometimes wants to go through walls, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, actually, let me talk about the weapons a little bit. Having 5 starting weapons in Gears of War is definitely different for the series. Historically, it's been you start with a Lancer and the shotgun. Yeah, Gears 2 they had the Hammer Burst, but you didn't really see many people use it unless they were running modded controllers or whatever. But in this game, you got 5. You got the assault rifles. You have the Lancer, which is pretty much where it's been for the past 3 games. The mid-range support role, but they did make some key changes to it. They brought it back to a 60-round mag like the way it was in Gears 1, except it also has the Gears 2 rate of fire and maybe a little more power. In my opinion, that was the best of the assault rifles. I felt like the clip size with the damage plus the headshot bonus they added toward the end of the beta made that the most dominant of the 3 assault rifles. I think I'm alone in that opinion in a lot of aspects. But I think as people get into the game when the full game releases over time, I think that everyone's going to realize the Lancer is still the best assault rifle. But the others are no slouch, and I want to talk next about the Hammer Burst. The Hammer Burst is essentially the same gun it was in Gears of War 2. The semi-automatic. Oh, look at that digger quad right there. Gotta love that. That's a great weapon. I'll talk a little more about that later. But the Hammer Burst, the biggest change from Gears 2 to Gears 3 was the addition of the iron sights, and I think they succeeded in what they hoped to accomplish. And they were trying to make the Hammer Burst a long-range support weapon, and the iron sights got the job done. I mean, you get really good accuracy from pretty far away, and it's still usable up close. And I know there's a lot of debate about whether or not it's overpowered. I don't think it is. I think the reticle actually makes it a little hard to use. It's a little confusing. It's not a normal reticle. And it's got like the 4 things around in the circle in the middle. But at range, it gets the job done. There's not a lot of recoil on it, but it's a little shaky, so that in my opinion, it's not overpowered at range. Overall, I think at first you'll see people think that that's the dominant assault rifle, but I think in the end it'll become a niche weapon, just like the 3rd weapon on the assault rifle list, the Retro Lancer. Now, there's a lot of controversy about the Retro Lancer, but that was mostly in the hip fire, and the hip fire was overpowered. Absolutely, like you could just sit there and you could snipe somebody across the map just holding down the trigger and blind firing. That's not acceptable for a high-powered rifle like that. But we know they fixed it. They've stated it, and you could see videos from like Comic-Con or whatever. The retro hip fire is clearly not the way to go anymore. That being said, I think that's really all they had to do to keep that weapon balanced. Aiming with it recoils for days. If you have any distance between you and your opponent, it's basically useless. It is what it is. It's for short range engagements. It's for people I think that are uncomfortable with shotguns. They give more of an assault rifle feel. Just make it easier for them, which is basically what they did with the sawed-off shotgun, which I'll now talk about. The sawed-off shotgun, I don't hate it for the reasons most people hate it. I hear a lot of people just complaining about that it's too easy to use. I think the only real issue, in my opinion, is that it can down. Now, Epic was on record as saying that it would be an all-or-nothing weapon, and that's clearly not the case. All or nothing means that you either jib or you don't, in my opinion. Some sniper fails here. I'm pretty good with the sniper normally, but in this game I just couldn't get it done. But anyway, the sawed-off. If they take away the down on it, you got a perfectly balanced weapon. It's for people that don't want to, that aren't comfortable maybe with aiming with the Nasher or how it's used. You just get up close, you take your shot, you kill them, or you don't. That's the way it should be, in my opinion. Epic doesn't seem to agree. I think they'll probably change their minds on that somewhere down the line, but that remains to be seen. Now, the Nasher. The Nasher is absolutely perfect, in my opinion. It kills up close the way it should. You can still damage people from pretty far away, but it doesn't seem to be as dominant as the Title Update 6 Gears of War 2 shotgun. I mean, I could be wrong. It may be the same, but for all I know, but I don't think so. There's really not much to say. I mean, you can get headshots like it's Gears 1. The shots connect. You get all the damage you're supposed to, and what else do you want? You know, that it's like the answer to all the Gearheads' prayers over the years. You know, Gears of War 2, the shotgun just, no matter what they did like a million fixes for it, and it was never right. And I guess their solution at the end was to make it so it was good at medium range and still inconsistent up close. And how is that not a headshot? That's just about the only time I thought I got a headshot in this game where I didn't. That's the sniper hit detection. They nailed it. But yeah, might as well segue into power weapons. And I'll talk first about the sniper. There's not really much to say. I mean, it works. I mean, it's sad that coming into this game, all we were really looking forward to are weapons that would actually work the way they're supposed to. But at least we're getting that. The hit detection on the sniper is fantastic. 9 times out of 10, if I hit somebody in the head, it popped. In Gears 2, 9 times out of 10, it didn't pop, and that got really frustrating, especially for the sniping community. You saw a lot of snipers in Gears 1 on YouTube. There's a big-time montage community, and Gears of War 2 just absolutely destroyed that. And I think with Gears of War 3, you'll see that again. Now I want to move on. I want to talk about the weapon I'm using here, the Digger Launcher. Oh, this is a great weapon. This is just excellent. I don't even know what to say. Like, I think what you're going to see with the buffing of the assault rifles in this game is a lot of teams making big entrenchments, and the Digger will do a great job in breaking those up and spreading teams out and giving teams a chance to make pushes in both public and even competitive circles. The Mulcher and the Mortar are essentially the same. The Mulcher seems a little more consistent. It seems to have a different rate of fire, or at least it sounds like it does. I'm not sure what's up with that. The Mortar definitely has more range on its full trigger hold. You can get it a lot farther across the map than you used to be able to, and I noticed that right away on Thresh while on day 1 of the beta. The other heavy, the new one, the one shot, I think is a very interesting weapon. It's not something that's gonna run games per se, but it definitely adds an interesting element. It's like having like a super powerful sniper rifle that is absolutely useless unless you're really far away. You can't blind fire it. It's really hard to aim up close because of the way the targeting system on it works, and the delay. It's something that you'll see in a supportive role, mostly in probably King of the Hill game types, or maybe even a team deathmatch, depending on how the teams play. Next weapon I want to talk about is the one I'm failing with on screen here, the Torpo. I think they went the right direction with it. In Gears 2, it was essentially a really easy to use boom shot. You just put it anywhere near anybody and it killed them. I think it needs to stick to being a skilled weapon, and you should only really get kills if you get it near somebody who's weak or if you stick them. And it seems to, it feels like it's like aiming the Gears 1 Torpo. Like, even though it is similar to the Gears 2 reticle, it just doesn't feel like the Gears 2 Torpo when you're aiming. It feels more like the Gears 1 Torpo. The next one I want to talk about is the boom shot. They went back to 3 shots on it, but they seem to have nerfed it just a little bit. It doesn't seem to have that second explosion that kills you. It's just one explosion. If you're near it, you're dead. If not, you're getting away. Maybe you're damaged. Not really anything else to say on that. The two pistols, the Gorgon and the Boltok, both make a return. The Boltok's essentially the same weapon. It's the Magnum one shot. If you get the reload on it, you could pull the trigger down. It shoots faster. It only seems to work on your active shots now, though. It'll say you only get like 2 shots, and then you reload, you only get automatic for 2 shots. So at least that's how it seemed. The Gorgon, however, is a completely different weapon now. They call it the Gorgon SMG, and basically the biggest change is they went full auto with it. And in my opinion, that was the right move. Having the burst, it was too long between. It was just too hard to use. If you this Scorcher, talk about that next. But The Gorgon, you could just run around blind firing it, and you could do pretty well with it. It's great for supporting your friends in shotgun battles, stuff like that. Obviously, with a meat shield, you're going to do well with it. It's great for what it is. It's nothing too powerful, but it's something worth picking up. And in this game, I feel it's probably going to be pretty maybe not essential, but it's worthwhile to pick up a pistol at some point in a respawn game type. All right, I want to talk about the Scorcher next. The Scorcher feels essentially the same. I think they may have given it more range to give it some separation from the shotgun. I think the smart thing to have done with it would have been to make it so you don't down people with it if you get full damage on them. Oh, nice incendiary nade throw there. I love that weapon. We'll talk about the nades next. But I think you should have been able to just kill them instead of downing people with it. Yeah, this way it gives it some separation from the shotgun. It gives you more of an incentive to pick it up because honestly, it's not worth swapping out an assault rifle for when you already have a gun of that range if you're using the Gnasher. And obviously, what's the point of dropping essentially the same weapon? I mean, it does have a mental advantage. You can see right here. You can scare people with it, and maybe that's the real benefit of it. We'll see as time goes on, but I think that it's going to be the same forgotten weapon it was in Gears 2. Now I want to talk about the three nades. They've all gone through some interesting changes. Excuse me, the four nades actually, with the inclusion of the new incendiary grenade that we showed off earlier, and I'll talk about that first. That seems to be at its best when you directly impact somebody with it. It's an instant kill. It's very cool. Other than that, its area of effect doesn't seem to damage people enough to really make it a useful territories weapon. You can definitely get people out of an area with it, though. It's scary to see that coming at you. You get a good view of it. And I sneak in a torpedo execution here. Look at that. Ooh. But yeah, it's just more of a fun weapon, I think. No, not really very practical. Yeah, they may change it. We'll see as time goes on. The ink grenade they completely revamped. In Gears 2, the ink grenade was introduced, and it was an area of effect, area denial kind of weapon. You just threw it in the area you didn't want somebody to be, just to drive them off, and it would eventually kill them if they didn't want to leave. And in Gears 3 here in the beta, if you notice, if you throw it at somebody, you stun them, similar to the smoke cringe from Gears of War 2. Now that just, in my opinion, that makes it an absolute beast of a weapon. A lot of people said it needed to be buffed, but I don't think so. You throw that into a crowd of people, you got like 3 guys stunned there, and you all just Lancer them down. You can take out an entire team or pretty easily. So I hear they're making the area of effect bigger, and I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. You know, again, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't know. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. I think they should have just left it. The frag grenades, I'm really happy with what they did. They made it so you can't combine them to double the explosion or whatever it was in Gears 2. You know, they're back to just being... They're more powerful than they were in Gears 1, which is good because they were, useless as throw grenades. They're only really good for tagging people. But, yeah, in this game, they're still pretty useful to throw, but they're not overpowered and annoying like they were in Gears 2. And I want to touch on the wall tags for a second also. They added a pretty long delay to it, which pretty much means you're only going to get killed by it if you're right up on it and you just don't notice it. And that's a great move for the game because the wall tags just absolutely killed the pacing of Gears 2, which was one of the big issues with it. Alright, this game's kind of wrapping up on me pretty fast here. May have to do a part 2. But I want to see if I can talk. I'm going to hit really briefly on the Hammer of Dawn. I think they may need to nerf that a little bit. Kind of easy to use. The explosion seems to be a little OP, but if it's we only really saw it on trenches where there were 2, and that just got annoying. All right, I'll have to come back on a part 2. Please join me.